G'day. So one of the questions I always ask most flat earthers is, do you have a two-scale flat earth map? Usually met with no answers. No one has ever bothered to even produce one. No one even cares about making anything bigger than the size of like a plate, a dinner plate. And so I went on a search to go and find one of the biggest, pixel-sized flat Earth maps I could find with the highest amount of detail. And I found this one. This one was the highest one I could get. It was about 2,000 pixels wide. So I naturally went and loaded it straight into my CAD program here, and I basically tried to figure out what exactly was the distance from the North Pole down to the equator, which according to this is 10,006 kilometers. So I had to work it out through all these sorts of things which I'd done on previous jobs. And so what you will find is that distance from the North Point to the equator, right here, well, slightly off, 10,005. So the scale is pretty darn good. So this is probably the only two-scale map of the flat Earth in the entire world, because quite frankly, they've never produced anything that's actually decently measurable. But this one is to scale. So the shout outs there for anyone who actually wants to go out there and find a distance for any particular thing, any location on the flat Earth map. I'll give you the distance that's come up on the scale here. You just need to comment below and ask, and I will come back, do a video on whatever you want, and I will come and get the distance for you. So this is to scale. Now, one of the things I figured I would investigate was everyone's always measuring one distance of Australia to the other distance of Australia, because Australia's, as you can see, it doesn't look right. It looks like, I don't know, like a potato or something like that. It just doesn't look right. So if you were to go on to Google Maps and or any informational like Google search, you'll find that the distance between Fraser Island in Queensland, which is just over here, is that little pointy tip out there, and of course there's another island just over here, and that one's called Dirt Hartog Island. So I don't really think that you can get a car to that location. So one thing I did have to go and do on another map is I had to put the car location on this little peninsula right here, which basically meant, I didn't quite get to that island. I got to this island, but this is accessible by vehicle. So that was the only way I could do it. So as the crow flies, it's supposed to be 4,045 kilometers in distance, and on this flat Earth map, it's come out as 8,850 kilometers. So it's more than double. And this other measurement I've got here, I've got Cape York to the bottom of Tasmania, so just below Hobart, right to the top of Cape York. It's supposed to be 3,677 kilometers in distance. On the flat Earth map is 3,804. So look, I don't quite know. I did want to show the map. Now, as you can see, we're talking about Fraser Island, 4,000 kilometers. Flat Earth says 8,800 kilometers. If you go to Google Maps and you just punch in the car, and look at this, you can't drive straight through because it's all mostly desert. They haven't made the roads, right? So you have to either drive down into New South Wales, over the top of Adelaide and the Costa Nullarbor, and then back up again. The alternative is you go up through Mount Isa and then down through Ayers Rock and stuff like that to be able to get there. But each one is 5,230 kilometers in distance and 5,773 kilometers in distance. And that is with not a straight line at all. It's messy, it's all over the place, it's back and forth, it's going into towns, out of towns, the whole bloody lot. So it's out of control, and it's only mustering 5,200 kilometers in distance. Yet this point-to-point distance for flat Earth map is 8,850. So way out. You can drive there quicker than what you can actually go there by Crow if you run Flat Earth. Now I measured this one here. This is Vancouver to New York City. It's supposed to be 3,905 kilometers point to point, but on the Flat Earth map, even though it's on the northern hemisphere, you would think the northern hemisphere would be slightly crunched because it's tighter. It gets tight. The scale gets tighter and tighter as it gets to the North Pole, but it's still coming up with a terrible result of 4,269. So it's still another 300 odd kilometers out of whack. So yeah, I might just quickly I'll pop on the Google Maps again and I'll find out what the driving distance Vancouver New York is. Just one sec. Okay, so I've punched in Vancouver to New York. The distance here is rated at 4,940 kilometers in driving distance, or 4,774 kilometers in driving distance, and that's going down through Chicago. So we've got 4,269, and that's straight line. So the driving distance still is a lot more further, but of course we do have a whole bunch of mucking around. So at the moment, the driving for America is further than as the crow flies. The way I found the true distance is if you clear the driving part, you can right click on the screen and you go measure distance, and you can pan out and you can go across to New York and go measure distance to here. And so as you can see, 3,914 kilometers in distance. So this is how I managed to find the curved distance over the planet. So as you can see here, it does do that curve, and it shows 3,900 kilometers. So that's how you can find out the true as the crow flies distance. So if you do have any questions and you want to go out there and get me to measure any particular distance, like if you want to do something in Europe or you want to do something in Africa, just ask. I'll always respond because the channel's quite small at the moment. If you like what you see, obviously I'm not the type of person to beg, but go in there. Let's not make my channel just a little bit bigger because I'm here to destroy flat earthers. Subscribe if you breathe air. That's one of the stupid things people say these days. I mean, if you drink water, subscribe. It's smart, isn't it?